Okay, let's go, folks. Approval of minutes. Just so we all don't forget about last year, we have a change to the March 3rd, 2020 minutes. So seeing as how a few of us board members weren't on the board at that time, we'll just go through this one first. So this again was a change made to the March 3rd of 2020 regular board meeting minutes. I believe there's only one change, but take a motion to approve the amended minutes.
Moved. Second.
Motion by Lynn, second by Erica. All those in favor?
Aye.
Michelle?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Opposed?
Yeah.
I abstain. Jessica abstains, all right? Okay. Motion passes either way. And then we have minutes from non-public December 8, non-public January 5, and regular January 5.
So moved.
Motion by Erica,
I'll second.
second by Lynn. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Okay, next agenda item is a resignation of a school board member. Mr. Nick Delatour informed us he would no longer be in the district at some point in the near future, and he gave us a letter of resignation. So to the dairy community, I am writing this letter to inform you of my resignation from my position on the SAU 10 Dairy Co-op School Board. As some may already know, some happenings in both my personal and professional life have left me distant from the daily happenings of our town and school district. I'll be relocating at some point over the next few months, and because of this situation, I feel that it is in the best interest of both myself and the SAU if I step down from the board prior to this year's election cycle. I will relinquish all of my responsibilities and privileges as a board member effective January 5, 2021. I appreciate your patience and cooperation in this matter. I regret any inconvenience that my resignation may cause to the school board and community, and will make all efforts during the next few weeks to help decrease any such inconvenience. Should you have any need to get in touch with me, feel free to private message. I have greatly enjoyed the cooperative experience of serving on the school board during my term, and am thankful for your help and kindness along the way. I am honored to have worked in the capacity of improving the school and its functions for our children and grandchildren, and am grateful for your understanding. Yours sincerely, Nick Delatour. The motion to approve the resignation.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Lynn, second by Erica. I just want to say that I had a very short time serving with Nick, but I always appreciated his points of view that he brought forward. Many times he spoke of mental health in the community, and that, especially at this time, is very important. And we'll certainly miss him dearly, and appreciate all the time and effort that he put into this board while he was with us. Anybody else like to speak?
I'll just say I agree with your statements, Derek, and wish him well in his move or wherever his job is taking him. We wish him good luck, and we will miss him.
And I would like to echo that on behalf of the students and staff, families of Derry. Thank you, Nick, for your service, enthusiasm, and kindness. So thank you.
I would also like to thank him for his time on the board. He was a very passionate member. He was also a very involved community member. So wherever he moves next, we'll be very lucky to have him.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Seeing none, we wish you the best of luck, Nick. Thank you. All right, so that leaves the appointment of a board member. The chair received a letter of interest pursuant to statute and school district policy. I submit my name for consideration to fill the vacancy on the board until the time of election to be held to fill the remaining year of that term. Truly, Paul L. Lutz. The board discussed after receiving Nick's resignation and with such a short period of time left in the year, how we wanted to move forward with that, and what has been past precedent with that a shorter time remaining is to try to see if a very recent board member who maybe rotated off the board would like to come back and finish up the year with us. Paul is one of those folks that would fall into that category. I have not received any other letters of interest, but while we're here, is anybody else here to state their interest? Seeing none. The board has a policy titled BBBE that requires the vacancy can't be filled until 15 days after it has been posted in the local newspaper. That was posted. The 15 days will not occur until Friday. But we do have the option, since there is one candidate and they are a qualified candidate, we could waive that policy, or actually we could suspend that policy via policy BGF. We need to make a motion to suspend policy BBBE, and it has to be a unanimous vote this evening. Would anybody like to make that motion?
Derek, I'll make a motion to suspend the policy. I think having someone sitting on the board, even though it's not a long time, with all the work that we have going on and the important things that we have to do, it's important to get somebody seated and get all the information that they, Paul, needs, going into the deliberative session and contract information and whatnot. So I'd be happy to make that motion to suspend the policy.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, the vote is unanimous, so policy BBBE is suspended. At this time, we'll move to make an appointment to the board. Mr. Lutz, I see you here with us. Would you like to speak on your behalf?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, administrators. I submitted a letter because I have spent virtually my entire life, my adult life, working, involved with the community, hopefully working for the betterment of the community. Between a long career with the Derry Police Department and a not quite so long, but fairly long tenure with the Derry School District. I served with on the Derry School Board for one term. It was a lot of work and a lot of reward. The points that were made tonight during the budget about some of the students and the needs that they have are, no matter where one would fall on the issue, on something like that, I think that it's important to have a person on the board who has their hand on the pulse of what's going on and what the feeling of people are and the needs of the students. Certainly, it's important to have your hand on the pulse of the community from the fiscal standpoint. Also, I've lived in my same home for 50 years, and I certainly appreciate the situation people are in when they have to pay their tax bill, because I have to pay my tax bill, and it's one of my larger bills that I have. Nonetheless, I really feel that it's not an if or, it's a situation where you're not trying to balance something, but you're trying to coordinate things and put them together so that the community really gets the best bang for their buck. As I said, I've lived in my house my neighborhood for 50 years, and in that time, I've seen cycles of 2 generations of students that have grown up, moved on, gone to the school, which is up the street from me at South Range. My son, many, many years ago, graduated from the Derry school system and went on through public university, and he does quite well based upon the foundation he received in the Derry School District. So to the extent that I can be a part of furthering that on a positive note for students and for the community as a whole, I offer my services for this shorter period of time.
Thank you, sir. Good to see you again. All right, may I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to let Mr. Lutz back onto the board.
Second.
Though the more he spoke, I was starting to second guess it. I'll just take a moment. I expressed regret at Mr. Lutz not being able to return after the election, and I'm happy to have him back. His expressions are genuine and sincere, and I even advocated in that behalf for him at the last run, so I'm happy to have him back. So should the board approve that, of course.
Thank you.
Second, Derek. I don't know if you heard me.
Motion by Lynn, second by Brenda. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Welcome back. All right. Next up is the, we'll have to set a time then to get Paul sworn in, but we can do that either at the SAU or however, some of a format just so we can get sworn in so we can start getting right into some stuff that we have to get to before the deliberative or at the deliberative, but we can make arrangements directly with Paul after the meeting sometime. Okay, so memorandum of agreement with the Dairy Education Association. Dr. Cornus-Corian.
So welcome back, Mr. Lutz. We'll be expecting your call. Policy meeting in the morning? I don't think so. Not to my knowledge, but I've been surprised before. Won't be the last time. Okay, so memorandum of agreement with the Dairy Education Association. I see we have Meg Morse-Perry and Dave Levesque here. I've seen you more on Zoom than some of my own family in real life. That says a lot about a memorandum of agreement. We have been working, I really want to give credit to our SAU administrative staff. Talk about work and work ethic. It's been certainly outstanding for our entire administrative team, not just the SAU staff. Our administrative team doesn't seek to acknowledge anything, yet working nonstop as usual, and this year in the pandemic even really to a higher level because of the situation. And with this memorandum of agreement, our SAU staff has worked nonstop with our association since August on this. I think certainly we've agreed to disagree, and we've come to a great agreement. In doing so, we've certainly learned a lot about one another and our belief systems, and learn the art of what was mentioned before as compromise. And I think, really, I believe, in all honesty, that this has benefited our, not only our staff, but our students in general in our community. So I want to thank the Dairy Education Association, in particular, Meg Morse-Perry, Dave Levesque, and Kelly Carey, who you've really been the prime people who've negotiated this, along with our entire SAU administrative staff, who've given their unconditional time and support. So I ask on behalf of our administration that the board consider to ratify this memorandum of agreement, since it has to do with impact bargaining and obviously collective bargaining. We are asking that this be ratified. Typically when Dr. Morse-Perry and I engage in a memorandum of agreement or a memorandum of understanding, it is a paragraph that's coined and written between our Director of Human Resources, Kathy Kennedy, and I. And Meg and I just go back and forth, and one of us, she signs it and I sign it, and we agree, and it's done. This is much more comprehensive, and it's really been a task that, as I said, I think it's really benefited our students and certainly our staff and community in general. Part of this was the tentative agreement on synchronous learning that really enabled us to move ahead with that and not wait until this evening to sign off. So that being said, Mr. Anderson, I ask that the board ratify this tonight, and I'm sure that Meg and Dave would like to say something as well.
It is true. It was a long process. Long process. I think the day that we cracked the code was a Friday when we spent 5 hours. Nobody ate lunch. Nobody left from the Zoom call. We all worked really hard. The administrative team was awesome. Add to Dave Kelly and I was Rebecca Cuspitson from Grinnell, and we at times had our NEA New Hampshire people with us, but Marianne mentioned the compromise, and I think that the biggest compromise when the district administrators and the Dairy Education Association leadership met without our outside people. So I think we started this process in July, and the first time we met was in August, and we've come full circle, and we do appreciate the all the work that everyone did on it, including the administrative team and the DEA team. Sometimes you never think you're going to get to the end of something, and when you finally do, you go, oh, that was really long, and that was really long. So I'm glad I will welcomely sign this so that we can get it off our plates and we can move forward. And I think we proved that together we work well together. So thank you.
Good evening, Dave Levesque. Boy, I'm not as nervous tonight. Maybe it's because I see many of your faces on the Zoom, minus the mask. I would like to say personally, the process definitely is a journey. I've learned a lot, maybe more than I ever wanted to in such a short time about contracts and whatnot, but nonetheless, the process was very rewarding, not financially in any way, but what I learned through the process. And I think the relationship that going through that process with the administration, I think we have a better appreciation of each other and the sides we represent. And I look forward to continue working with the district. And thank you all. And hopefully we don't have to do that for quite some time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave and Meg, and I really look to the pillars of learning, growing, and connecting, and I think those are the pillars that we really represented in our agreement and in our process of going through the agreement. Not only do we as a district look to those in our interactions and connections with students every day, but we look to those in our interactions with one another, and I really think our process was representative of those pillars.
Move to approve the memorandum of agreement between the Dairy School Board and the Dairy Education Association. And I'd also like to add thanks to everyone who's worked so hard on putting this together. I know there was lots and lots and lots of hours and lots of work that went into this, but in the end, it's in the best interest of our kids. So thank you so much for all the time that you guys have given and you guys have given.
So moved.
Okay, motion by Brenda, second by Lynn. Any further discussion? I'll just add to that, appreciate the extensive amount of work by both the teachers union and the administration. It's an end that we hoped would come sooner, but it has to go through a process, and we got there, and now we can focus on the kids. So I appreciate all that effort. Thank you very much. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Showing none, the MOA is approved.
I also want to thank Lynn Perkins for being our rep and putting up with us.
Okay, next up we have personnel.
Okay, as you can see this evening, we have quite an extensive list of retirements. I know we engage in a formal ceremony in June. These retirements, and certainly the names are not easy to read. They come with a history behind them, a lot of institutional history. More important, as we've spoken about tonight, connections to students and families and to one another. So I am reading the list. It is not simply a read, it's from the heart, and it represents all of us. I read the list, but it really is on behalf of all of us that I read names, and they're much more meaningful than a name on a paper and a name on an agenda. Just so everyone knows that each and every person here on the list has given so much to our Derry Cooperative School District, and we will engage in much more than this when June comes around, and we have a ceremony of some sort, and that obviously remains to be seen, because as I always say, we can't predict, we can just plan. Karen Bagley, Special Education Assistant, South Range Elementary School. Stephen Becker, Custodian District-wide. Susan Barascas, Director of Food Service District. Jane Boyle, Director of Student Services District. She's here with us this evening. Kara Gray, Federal Projects Manager District. Janet Hornsby, PACE Teacher, South Range Elementary School. Dan LaFleur, Principal, Ernest P. Barca Elementary School. Cynthia Najam, Elementary School Teacher, Ernest P. Barker Elementary School. Tracy Wilmette, Reading Specialist, Grinnell Elementary School. Dorothy Peters, PACE Teacher, Derry Village Elementary School Teacher. Jane St. Amand, Special Education Teacher, Derry Village Elementary School. Catherine Thermopoulos, School Nurse, Ernest P. Barker Elementary School. Nancy Thompson, Educational Assistant, South Range Elementary School. And Lori Watson, Elementary School Teacher, Ernest P. Barker Elementary School.
Move to approve these retirements with so much appreciation for so much dedication to our students in our district. There's a lot of longtime, fabulous employees on this list, and they're going to leave some giant shoes to fill. Greatly appreciated all that they've given to us as a district and to our families and our children.
Second.
Motion by Brenda, second by Jess. Any further discussion? I just want to state my appreciation for all the years of service these folks have given the District of Derry. Dottie Peters, just a few folks that I've personally been involved with. Dan LaFleur, Jane Boyle, of course, and everyone else on here, just the amount of dedication they put into this district to build it to even better. And we'll miss them, but thank you for your service. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Wish I had a vote to say no.
Yeah, right. Okay, policy.
Okay, but prior to that, which was not on the agenda because we have a last-minute nomination that did not make the agenda, I would like to nominate, as in the sheet I handed out this evening, Carmen Zavarotomy, and as a Title I math teacher, Grinnell Elementary School. So I would ask that you accept the nomination of Carmen Zavarotomy as Title I math teacher, Grinnell Elementary School.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Brenda, second by Jess. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Thank you. Okay, policy. All of these following policies are up for a second read, so if there's no exception to the way I'm going to do this, I will give you the codes of the policies and read what the policy code is and the name of the policy, and then I will present them all for a second read. Is that okay with the board? Okay.
Sure.
So up for a second read tonight are the following. DGA/DGB, authorized signature check writing services. DK, payment procedures. GBCD, background investigation and criminal history record check. JICD, student conduct, discipline, and due process, safe school zone. And JICDR, Derry Police Department Memorandum of Understanding. I present all of those policies for a second read.
Move to accept the policies as presented.
Second.
Motion by Lynn, second by Erica. Any discussion on the policies? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All policies are approved.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have session 1, deliberative session, and session 2, voting day discussion.
Okay, I'll begin, and then Mr. Anderson, I'll let you take over. We, at the last school board meeting, there were 2 options for our deliberative session that were explained, and then Gordon Graham had a Zoom-in session to answer board's questions. One is of remaining with the deliberative session date as scheduled, February 6th. As Jane had in the presentation this evening, February 6th at 10 a.m. at West Running Brook Middle School, and voting day March 9th here at West Running Brook. In the meantime, tonight, both Lynn Perkins and I were notified by the town that they voted at the town council to have voting day remain on March 9th. So Dave Karen texted me, and that's why I had my phone out to check, and I had forgotten to check because I was certainly engaged in the discussion. But I did check later, and certainly Mr. Perkins also received a notification that the town did vote to have the voting day remain as March 9th. As requested at the last meeting, I was asked to follow up with Mr. Karen, our town administrator. I did so the evening of the board meeting, around probably 10 p.m. Sent Mr. Karen an email. He and I have corresponded a few times since then, as we typically do, and kind of back and forth. And tonight, they voted again to have voting day on March 9th. So there are 2 options at this point. One is to have the deliberative session on February 6th. The other is to do the 2 virtual sessions and a drive-through voting. And the third, the legislative bill has not passed yet. I believe it's going to be, again, heard on the 22nd, if I'm correct in what I saw written from Mr. Gordon, our school district moderator. So, Mr. Anderson, if you want to take it from there.
Sure. So obviously our current protocol was be the deliberative session as it's currently scheduled for West Running Brook, February 6th, I believe. So if we wanted to vote to change it to the alternative, there is potentially a third, but that has not passed the legislature. So we only have the 2 choices today. If we want to keep it the same, then we don't have to do anything. If we want to change it to the alternative, where we have the multiple remotes and then a drive-through voting, we would have to vote to do that this evening. Thoughts on that?
I
I suggest we keep it the same because we do have the ability in this building, if we need to split people up, to have some people in here, some people in the library, and some people in the cafeteria so that we can meet the numbers that we have to meet for safety reasons, but just give everyone the ability to speak up in whatever room and share their opinion and have it broadcast.
I agree. I think that the second option of the remote and the drive-through and everything else is overly complicated and may disenfranchise voters. I would like to get as many people as we can. I believe that the staff has shown that that we can definitely space out. We can use this to the full extent. I think we've got safety measures in place. I would definitely move towards keeping it the same.
I agree as well, and I also know that Kevin, our moderator, has been working with Tina from the town to get some ideas. He's also attended a lot of webinars and worked with New Hampshire School Board Association, as well as our administration and our custodial staff, who have been doing this since the summer. So as difficult as a decision as it is, I think it's the best decision to make.
We have met actually at least twice. Jane, you've been on the call. And Derek, I know you have been on a couple, and Brenda, and with Tina and Kevin. So the town and school district have worked very, very collaboratively on this. I know that the town has been up here working with our custodial staff, making sure that, how many seats can we fit in and 6 feet apart, designating a space in the library, designating a separate entrance, designating where a separate voting area would be in case a ballot vote is needed. So we have a cafeteria, we have a hallway, we have separate bathrooms and so forth. So those are all designated already, and so the finer details have been worked out, just so that the board is well aware that the town and our school district have been in really great collaboration. And I think that's part of who we are and part of what we do. This isn't an outlier. This is just what we do.
Yeah, I would say that the team's been a great asset just since they ran the November election, did a great job with that, keeping it safe, and she's been helping us with that here, and Kevin doing some extra training for the deliberative sessions and what's available to us. So I'm not hearing anyone wanting to make a motion to change to the alternate, so we'll keep it the same. If another option arises and there's time to change, we have certain parameters of time that we have to follow, but if something happens and we have the time, certainly we can look into that. But at this point, we'll move forward with our typical deliberative and regular voting day. Okay, and approval of the warrant. I guess maybe we did that already before. Yeah, I guess I got shuffled down the list here.
Right. It's just that the
Wait,
warrant.
though, we approved the budget. Do we have to approve the whole warrant?
Okay.
Okay, never mind.
The warrant here is, the warrant enclosed it does not have the modified amount in Article 2 that we voted on tonight, because it was the old amount opposed to the new. So that's something I believe that would need to be re-voted on and re-amended, I think.
Can we approve the warrant with an amendment?
Well, we reworded it, number 2, with the correct number. We had to verify that the default number was correct. Jane verified that. So when we approved the wording, it included the new number. So we kind of jumped ahead in the agenda when we did that, but that's been approved.
Yep, so I think that we're okay on the numbers. I'm not sure if all of the other warrant articles need to be voted on to be moved forward to the...
Okay,
Yeah.
so just go through the others.
Right, we have to, I think the board needs to approve the whole warrant.
I'll make a motion to approve the warrant with the budget as amended. I guess that's it. Unless you need the numbers, and I don't have them, I'll have to get them from Jane. I didn't write
Do
them
we
down.
need, do we need to
The
vote
new numbers.
on
I don't think so, but.
moving all 7 warrant articles, or?
Yeah, I think we can move all, because we already changed the one, so we can move all 7 forward.
Yep.
Right, with the budget as amended.
Okay. So Brenda, with a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Jess. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
Derek, can I just ask?
Oh, yeah.
I just want to make sure that it's clear. Jane, could you give us those numbers one more time? Well, just give the numbers one more time for anybody who's listening who maybe missed the beginning of the meeting.
Sure.
Thank you.
And if someone else wrote them down, hopefully I gave it to you correct the first time. Does somebody else have 93,151,401.79? Yeah? Okay. You do?
And the
Awesome.
default stayed the same.
I feel like I'm lost without an adding machine, so the calculator on the computer is a little much.
Okay, and there were no abstentions, so that motion passes. All right, filing period for school board candidates.
Okay, there is a public notice, first of all, for school board candidates. The Derry School Board seeking candidates for 3 positions on the board. The term of 2 positions is for 3 years, and 1 position is for 1 year. Each receives an annual stipend of $1,500. Applicants must be a resident and voter in Derry. Applications may be downloaded from the district's website or picked up at the office of the Superintendent of Schools, which is at 18 South Main Street, Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Applications will be accepted by the school district clerk, Ms. Mary Ellen Tagliatella, at the office of the Superintendent of Schools, January 20th through January 29th, 2021. Applications will be accepted until 5 p.m. on January 29th, 2021, and voted by ballot on March 9th, 2021. I also have a public notice. The Derry School Board is seeking candidates for the position of school district moderator. The term of the position is for 3 years and receives an annual stipend of $300. Applicants must be a resident and voter in Derry. Applications may be downloaded from the district's website or picked up at the office of Superintendent of Schools, 18 South Main Street, Derry, New Hampshire. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Applications will be accepted by the school district clerk, Ms. Mary Ellen Tagliatella, at the office of the Superintendent of Schools, January 20th through 29th, 2021. Applications will be accepted until 5 p.m. on January 29th, 2021, and voted by ballot on March 9th, 2021.
Thank you, Mary Ann. So we do have the 3 openings. Erica, are you prepared to announce your candidacy for re-election?
Yes, I'm running for re-election.
Very good. Thank you. Is there anybody else in the audience that is planning to file that would like to speak? Seeing none at the moment. My advice, if it's worth the paper the notice is printed on, is that usually when we see years where there's a very short term, there's a lot of competition for that term. So if someone is truly interested in being on the school board and making tough decisions and having a good time while you're doing it, I guess, go for the 3-year, because there'll probably be less competition for the 3-year. But if you also wanted to try it and go for a year and see if you like it and go for 3 after that, just be prepared. So, thank you. All right, the superintendent's update.
That's it? Okay. School Board Chair Derek Anderson, Vice Chair Brenda Willis, administrative team representatives, including Jane Simard, and I have been attending virtual PTA, PTSA meetings throughout January to discuss the proposed 21-22 budget, including warrant articles, one for the collective bargaining agreement with AFSCME, which is our teacher assistant contract, and the second with the Dairy Education Association, the teacher contract. We're extremely grateful to the PTSAs for their time and support. We have one final meeting at West Rhinebeck Middle School on January 20th, which is tomorrow evening, beginning at 7 p.m. That's a virtual meeting again, during which we look forward to presenting the proposed budget. I won't repeat my second item because that is a repeat of school board vacancies and moderator vacancies, and I just said that, so I won't repeat that. However, I do want to review the following dates based on tonight's school board vote and the town vote. The deliberative session will be held on Saturday, February 6th, beginning at 10 a.m. at West Rhinebeck Middle School. As I said just recently, plans have been made in collaboration with our school district moderator, Kevin Gordon, and town moderator, Tina Guilford, to review health, safety, and social distancing protocols and make extensive preparations for that day. We are in need of assistant moderators and voter check-ins. Please contact our SAU office at 432-1210 if you are interested in helping on the day of the deliberative session. Town school elections will take place on Tuesday, March 9th, 2021, between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. Voting for all districts 1, 2, 3, and 4 will take place at West Rhinebeck Middle School. In regards to the draft of the calendar for the 21-22 school year, a great deal of work continues to go into that calendar for our Dairy Cooperative School District. I'm trying to coordinate our opening as closely as possible with Pinkerton Academy to assist families who may find it helpful to be on a similar schedule, not necessarily the same, but a similar. So we are still trying to coordinate as best as we can. And that will be ready at our February 9th meeting for your draft and hopefully for your approval. Families who have a child born between October 1st, 2015 and September 30th, 2016 can register for our 21-22 kindergarten class. The district's website will direct families to an online registration form. If you don't have access to a computer, please call your neighborhood elementary school and the office will be more than willing to help you out. Our numbers are currently 128 kindergarten registration students who are currently registered. That takes place from November 16th through January 19th, 2021. The numbers are as follows: Dairy Village, 26, East Dairy, 21, Barca, 34, Grinnell, 15, and South Range, 32. So that's an increase since our last report from the 2 weeks ago from our school board meeting. I think everybody knows, but I'm very happy to share it. We're extremely excited to welcome back all students. Right now we have some in our buildings for specialized instruction. We're extremely glad and excited to welcome back all students to face-to-face learning beginning Monday, January 25th in Plan B hybrid. Dr. Garofalo will go over that in more detail, so I won't belabor that, but our administrators, teachers, secretaries, assistants, food service, custodial, maintenance, all of our staff have worked extremely hard to prepare our schools to make them responsive to the needs of all students and families and staff. Despite still being concerned about the level of COVID-19 transmission within our community, we're prepared with the same mitigation strategies that we have taken since August, including mask wearing, social distancing, cleaning and disinfecting, excellent hygiene practices, and completion of the attestation form checklist prior to students and staff coming to school every day. As we are scheduling on Friday, January 22nd, the pandemic response team will continue to meet regularly and monitor community numbers and metrics, which indicate whether we're in the red level, which are substantial, yellow, which is moderate, or green, minimal levels of school impact. Decisions about moving between plans B, C, and A will be continually revisited with the pandemic response team based on community and in-school numbers, which our school nursing team does a fabulous job of maintaining. They really, really do a super job under the direction of our school nurse team leader, Sue Linehan, on maintaining in-school numbers for positive COVID-19 cases and numbers of quarantines. I wish at this time to thank our educators for doing an outstanding job preparing and responding to the new professional learning involved in Plan B hybrid, and I ask for everyone's patience as the district moves to Plan B. Again, welcome back. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Now the Assistant Superintendent, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. This evening I am focusing my report on the Plan B hybrid model of instruction, which is being implemented as of this coming Monday, January 25th. Discussions regarding all three plans, as outlined in the Derry Cooperative School District Roadmap to Reopening Schools document published this past July, have been ongoing since the beginning of the summer. As with all of our instructional models during this pandemic, the Plan B hybrid model has evolved over time due to input from the members of the Hybrid Planning Committee, staff members, families, emergency and medical personnel, administrators, and by continued attention to the important COVID-19 data. In December, the district transitioned to Plan C fully remote as the number of quarantines due to contact tracing made the situation difficult to adequately staff all of our classrooms. Due to the currently high COVID-19 numbers, that would still be the case if we attempted to fully remote on-site with a minimum of 3 feet of physical distance between students like we had during trimester 1. The change in the instructional model is in response to a balance between the continued concern about the coronavirus and the important need for students to have instruction on-site. Access to school buildings, teachers, and peers supports the developmental and social-emotional needs of our students, your children. The primary advantage of Plan B hybrid is that all students have the opportunity to be physically in front of their teachers and with their peers for at least 2 days each week. On-site classes will have about half of the students scheduled for a class while the other half work remotely from home. This reduces the number of students in all classrooms and increases the physical distance between students and between students and staff. This will decrease the need for contact tracing, decrease the number of times students and staff are required to quarantine, and therefore students can attend school on-site even with the high COVID-19 numbers we are experiencing now. All staff received an email letter Monday, January 11th that explained specifics of Plan B hybrid and the professional development they would be involved in prior to January 25th. Families received 2 email letters 1 week ago today. The first letter was from the schools and explained what groups your children would be in and how to notify the school if you had questions or wanted to make a change. The second letter explained the student instructional day for this past Friday, tomorrow, and for this coming Friday when staff prepare for the upcoming transition. Here is some specific information about Plan B hybrid. School facilities will be open to students and staff at a limited classroom capacity with increased health and safety measures. Limited capacity is organized by dividing the student body into Group 1, on-site Mondays and Thursdays, and Group 2, on-site Tuesdays and Fridays. Accommodations were made to group students within the same family unit together in the same rotation. High-need students will be recommended for additional on-site learning when possible. We will continue to offer families the choice for their children to remain fully remote. The process for assigning groups is ongoing and is being managed at the school level, so please call the school office if you have questions. A minimum of 6 feet physical distancing should be maintained in offices, hallways, main entrances, restrooms, and other common spaces. Efforts will be made to maintain a physical distance of at least 6 feet in our classrooms. Students will be required to wear face coverings unless there are necessary accommodations and breaks, especially with younger students. Face coverings are still required for all staff and all visitors to our school. Family members and other visitors entering the school area will be limited, and office staff will screen all visitors. Instruction for hand washing and hygiene protocols will be designed according to the developmental level of students. Students will eat lunch in classrooms, outdoors, maybe a little cold for that right now, but it will get warmer, The cafeteria, dining hall, or gymnasium so they can maintain a minimum distance of 6 feet. When feasible, recess will be outside and within cohort groupings. Unified arts will be modified to adhere to cohort groupings. Staff will be required to complete a sign-in, sign-out procedure for each classroom they enter. Now I have some specific information about Plan B hybrid instruction. All students are now in their assigned school with their assigned Derry Cooperative School District teacher or team of teachers. Teachers will combine classroom learning with online learning. Students will routinely transition between elements of remote learning and on-site instruction. All instruction will be accessible by all students for which the learning is intended using a variety of offline and online strategies. Teachers will continue to be responsive to diverse learning groups, address the curricular instructional needs of students, consider the whole child and home learning environment, adapt to the confines of the physical classroom, and expand instructional opportunities to the home environment, teach synchronously, which is providing lessons on Zoom to remote students and students in the classroom at the same time. Independent and small group work will be provided to remote students and students in the classroom. Lastly, a highlight of some specifics pertaining to the Plan B hybrid Wednesday schedule. Plan B hybrid Wednesdays starting a week from tomorrow, January 27th, will be a condensed live instructional day in the morning, followed by lunch and independent work related to the morning instruction. It will be a full instructional day for students, and staff will participate in during the second half of the day in professional learning and collaboration and planning. All students will be remote except for a limited number of high-need students who will return home after the morning live instruction. This allows classrooms to have all the students together online in live Zoom sessions and staff together for the PD planning and collaboration. Questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Business Administrator.
Thank you. I just have a couple of things. Now that the warrant articles were approved tonight, we will have to complete our MS-26, which is going to be posting our budget and our default budget. So I will work on those tomorrow, and we'll have to have board signatures on those in order to post and for Kathleen to get it into the annual report. So I'll try to finish that report tomorrow, and then I'll make phone calls when they're done, and if people can stop by this week, that would be really helpful to get that into the annual report. So I'm sure that I think she's on a time crunch for that. I also just wanted to mention that we have openings in 2 of my departments in food service. We have, I think there's 8 open positions at this point, and we also have full-time custodial positions open. So people can apply for those online, or they can pick up an application in our office. I also wanted to make mention that to thank our food service department for another great day of serving meals to all of our students. They really worked really hard as usual and gave out 4 days worth of meals today to students, so 4 lunch and 4 breakfast. They will still be in the schools this week to make sure that the students in the schools have meals. So if a parent was unable to get a pickup today, they can call either West Runningbrook or Gilbert H. Hood and make an arrangement with them. And we'll be putting out a schedule when we come back into school with hybrid for the meals, because we'll be back in the school, so parents would go back to being able to pick up at any one of the schools that they want. But we'll put out a schedule for that to make sure students still get fed, but they deserve a lot of kudos for the amount of work under Susan Broskis and, of course, Christina Lebelzik, the kitchen manager here, and Nancy Connolly, the kitchen manager at Gilbert H. Hood, and all the ladies that are working there, working super hard. And I also just wanted to make mention of the custodians. Marianne mentioned all the protocols that we have in place and everything that we're doing. They've done an outstanding job, and we struggle with the amount of staff that we have right now too. So they're really have just been amazing since all of COVID hit back in March. So I just want to thank them, and we are continuing to work on our audit that we have. We have a single audit going right now in finance for IDEA. Our full audit should be completed shortly, and we'll be able to put that on an agenda to have one of the auditors. They can either live in from Zoom. I'm not sure whether they're coming in person or not. And I mentioned at one of the last board meeting that I was going to try to do a presentation tonight for the Honeywell cost savings report, but it's very lengthy. I think there were 83 pages to it. So Patty has put together packets for each of the board members, and we'll post it, and we have the representative from Honeywell will actually zoom in to the February 9th meeting and do a quick presentation on it, because I think that it's a pretty amazing report, and I think it would do it justice to have somebody from Honeywell to give an explanation on the amount of cost savings that the district is seeing through the Honeywell energy conversion program. So we're pretty pleased about the savings that we're seeing. And that's it, unless anybody has any questions.
Thank you, Jane.
You're welcome.
Committees manifest.
Chair, I'll make a motion to approve a manifest in the amount of $1,667,454.07, of which $1,077,944.75 is general payroll, and general expense is $589,509.32. That completes reading the motion. Calls for a second, please.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Seeing none, motion carries. FYI, we have the January 1 enrollment report in our packets. Once again, the second page shows the big jump in homeschool numbers. Hopefully our legislator is working on a fix for that funding issue. And then correspondence. We had the letter from Paul and Nick's resignation letters, but nothing other than that. Actually, we did get some letters in, so those are passed out, I guess, from the emails that we received. Delegations and individuals. Would anybody like to speak? Okay, seeing none. Any other business? Seeing none. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right. Thank you, folks. Have a good evening.